to Moments with Marianne. I'm so delighted we're spending this time here today. We have a very empowering show coming right up with two very special guests. Our guests today are gay-hendricks and carol-kline, and they're here to share with us their new book, Conscious Luck: 8 Secrets to Intentionally Change Your Future. Now, did you know it's possible to create your own luck? These New York Times bestselling authors are going to share secrets with us that can change your fortune and future. Instead of hoping and wishing that luck will come your way, today we're going to learn how conscious luck will allow us to seize control of our destiny and create that dazzling life we've been dreaming of. Now, many of you know gay-hendricks. He's served for more than 40 years as one of the major contributors to the field of relationship transformation and mind-body therapies. He is a New York Times best-selling author, and his books include Conscious Loving and The Big Leap. Carol-Kline, many of you will know as well, has devoted her career to teaching, writing, and speaking about consciousness and personal growth. She is a #1 New York Times bestselling author and the co-author of Happy for No Reason, Love for No Reason, and 5 books in the Chicken Soup for the Soul series. So let's welcome to the show gay-hendricks and Carol-Kline.
Thank you so much. Great to be with you.
Yes, so excited to be here.
Well, I cannot tell you, my goodness, once I picked up this book, I could not put it down. It is a phenomenal book, and I'm so glad we get to talk about this. But I have to ask you, why don't we start with you, Gay? What inspired you to write this book?
The very first inspiration I had was actually when I was a kid. I was 14 years old, and I can honestly say I'd never given a second's thought to luck or conscious luck or anything like that. But one day I went to a movie, and the kid next to me, Danny, I knew a little bit from school, but I didn't know him real well. And they were going to have a drawing at the intermission where they put our 250 of us were in the movie theater, and they put all our tickets in a goldfish bowl with our name on it. And before they had the drawing, Danny just leaned over and nudged me and said, "Watch this. I bet I'm going to win one of these prizes." And so I said, "Well, okay, let's believe it when we see it." And so sure enough, they drew out 3 prizes, and he won the top prize, which happened to be a wristwatch, which in 1959 for a couple of 14-year-olds, that seemed like a pretty darn good prize. And so I was very amazed by that. And I asked him afterwards, "How did you do that? How did you know you were going to win?" And he said, "I win prizes and things like that all the time." He said, "I decided one day I was going to be one of the lucky ones. And so ever since I made that decision, lucky stuff happened to me." And this was amazing philosophy to be coming out of the mouth of a 14-year-old kid in Leesburg, Florida. But it was a pretty amazing idea. And so I tried the idea on for myself. Okay, I think I'm going to be one of the lucky ones. And I got so instantly rewarded for it because a couple of days later, I had this amazing event happen where I found a briefcase on the sidewalk in front of a store I'd been in, and it belonged to a famous coin collector, and it probably had $40,000 or $50,000 worth of coins in it. Now, I did not know that because I just saw this briefcase sitting next to a parking meter. And so I picked the briefcase up and I took it back in and gave it to the store owner, because the man had been in the store that had left the briefcase apparently. And so I went off to the movies, and a whole thing happened while I was at the movies, which this man was reunited with his briefcase and wanted to give me a big reward, and ended up, since I wasn't there, he mailed me this amazing coin collection that at the time was probably worth $35 or $40. Now would be worth $400 or $500. It was a complete collection of Buffalo nickels. And I was an avid coin collector at the time. And so that was a big deal for me. But what stuck in my mind was the relationship between the day I decided I was going to be a lucky person and then this thing happening. I ended up even getting a write-up on the front page of the newspaper, like local boy finds fortune in coins, returns to owner. And so I kind of became a hero for the day. But I sort of had that in the back of my mind, but like I often say to people, it took me 30 years to get around of thinking around a book before I get around to writing it. And so I thought about it for the next 40 or 50 years. And then one magic day about 8 years ago, I sat down and I wrote the first section of the book. And then I met a miracle woman named Carol-Kline.
And this is where you come in, Carol, right?
It is. Gay sent me a manuscript because I'm a editor and author, and we had worked on a book together. It was a wonderful book with Jack Canfield in 2005. So in 2012, Gay sent me a manuscript, and it was called Conscious Luck. And those two words together I had never seen. It was like, wait, luck is something you can't control. How can you be consciously lucky? So right away, I was intrigued. I read what he had written me, and I thought what he had written, and I thought, whoa, this has so much value. It needed work, but I was very impressed. So I told him so, and he said, he was writing detective fiction at the time and really enjoying it. He said, I'll just put this in the back burner for a while. And Gay and I live in the same town. So I would run into Gay at the farmer's market, at the local grocery store. He invited me to his, Christmas parties. And I always would chat with him and say, hey, what are you going to do with that book, Conscious Luck? And he'd say, nothing, right now I'm just busy with other things. And in March of 2017, after I started understanding conscious luck, my story about conscious luck, all my life, I'd always, thought, things good happen and bad happen and you had no control over it. But I now know the secrets of conscious luck. And for me, it's asking for what I want. It started my career as a writer, and it got me to sitting in this chair today talking to you about conscious luck with gay-hendricks. I called Gay that day and said, I would love to help you finish this book. Would you be okay with that? And he said, not only okay, that'd be great. So we became collaborators on this book, and we edited what was there and added more. And what you have in your hands is the finished product. And it was a joy from beginning to end.
Well, I am so delighted that the two of you have released this book. It is just amazing, especially for a time like right now. I think you have a lot of people going, you know what, I need to change my luck. And a lot of people don't realize they can actually do that.
Well, that's a big discovery that I think everybody needs to make eventually. And we hope the book is going to contribute to that by providing a roadmap to how to make yourself luckier. But it's actually, I always say you're only one positive thought away from changing any area of your life. And so if you can just introduce one new positive thought to get things started, like the positive idea that, I'm willing to be luckier today than I was yesterday. Or, I'm willing to be luckier tomorrow even than I was today. And I'm willing to be luckier every day of my life. So just to introduce a new positive thought into your thought stream like that begins the process. But we point out earlier in the book, if you really want to speed up the process, the way to do it is to make a living commitment, a sincere, heartfelt commitment to being luckier. And we show you some kind of fancy ways to do that in the first chapter, but a very simple way to do it is just to bring in a new positive thought into your mind that says something like, I commit to being luckier every day of my life. Just to get that out into your mind field as a way of organizing your activities, knowing that your activities are about serving good in the sense of you're getting luckier every day, which means you'll be more inspiring to other people around you. So all it takes is just this one little change of thought, and that really begins the process.
So Carol,
Yes.
how do we then go and cultivate greater luck in our lives when we plant that seed?
I'm so glad you asked me that. I love what Gay said because this is so well documented in the social sciences and positive psychology that this commitment to being lucky opens the door. It's the mindset piece. And there's a lot to be said about that willingness to change and a commitment to change. And then we have in our book, that's the first secret of conscious luck. The next three secrets are core shifts you make, paradigm shifts, things that you do to help release any blocks to luck you have, and specifically one that Gay had an amazing experience with in his own life, and he writes about, of transforming the energy of shame that you hold in your body into a luck attractor. And then using your goals, the luck-worthy goals, that your goals can actually draw luck to you, that if you have luck-worthy goals, it gives luck a reason to visit. And we tell you how to take, your values, your goals, your particular, reason for being on this planet and luckify it. You can make your goals luck-worthy. And then the last 4 secrets are practices, daily practices, behaviors you can do that will create more luck in your life. And I love the balance of, you have to start with that one positive thought. I can do this. I want to do this. I'm willing to do this. It's possible to do this. And I commit to do this. And then from there, that opens the door. It's the cow catcher on the train. It's the prow of your ship is what guides you going forward. And it's been so much fun hearing people's stories once they start this. I get stories all the time on our Facebook page, and personally people who have read the book will contact me and tell me all the wonderful things, that have happened to them since they made that commitment and followed through with the work.
That's one of the great things about writing a book like Conscious Luck, since we live in a relatively small town, is people will actually stop me at the farmer's market and tell me some luck tale that's happened to them, which I really love to hear. That's the reason I'm so glad people are using the Facebook page to list all their conscious luck stories, because it's fun to go in and read those every day.
I can imagine. I could just imagine. And, Gay, I have to ask you, during the time that you're writing this book, was it like a transition to have these 8 lucky secrets make their way to you? Was it something that just kind of transpired as you went throughout your journey?
Yes and yes. And also I was, whenever I sit down with somebody, even by accident, I'll often start talking to them. Like a while back, I sat down on an airplane, and I happened to be seated next to the CEO of a noodle company that was the same noodles that I ate for 25 cents a pack when I was in graduate school. and so I had the opportunity to have a long 3-hour noodle conversation with a person. But when I bring up this story is I asked him, what do you think luck plays in your life? And he said, well, first thing he said was, you make your own luck, and which I very much believe. But then he said that old idea about the harder you work, the luckier you get. But then he went even further, and he said, it's having an attitude that something good is always about to happen. And, that's a very precious thing, especially in challenging times like we're going through now or people have gone through in the past. It's hard to keep a positive attitude about things. But I think in Conscious Luck, what we did was interview a whole bunch of people and find out what their luck story was and what they thought contributed to it. And then out of our own experience, I could see some of these paths, like the first 2. The one about shame, though, is one that really stands out for me because it was a discovery that I made in real time where I was standing in my mother's house, actually. My brother and I were helping clear it out after my mother had passed away a year or so before, and we were going to sell the house. And so I was in the process of moving a picture frame over to a box when a letter fell out of the back of the picture frame. And it kind of made my hair stand on end because it was dated 1945, which happened to be the year I was born. And so I opened the letter and read it, and then my heart split wide open because it was an impassioned plea from my mother's church group to my mother, asking her to please leave her house, please come out of the house. You don't have to sit in shame in your house. We know the birth wasn't how you would have liked it to be and all of that, but you don't have to be ashamed about that for the rest of your life. And I realized that's me they're talking about. That's why my mother had shut herself in the house for several months. And so anyway, it was a big wake-up moment for me where suddenly I realized that I still carried that sense of shame that I must have been kind of gestated in that early period of my life, because I could still feel where I felt it in my body. But then this little miracle happened where somewhere in me an idea came to me. since I've got this new territory opened up, now I can feel all this shame in my body. Why don't I replant it replant the field with a new crop, so to speak? And so I said, what would I put there instead? And so what I put there instead was an attractor field for love and luck. So instead of shame, there's maybe some shame there, but I wanted to replant that field and say, okay, let's now rededicate that to a different purpose. So that speaks to just about anything human beings can come across in ourselves. If you feel a whole bunch of old grief, for example, or you feel a whole bunch of old anger about something in the past, just know that you can replant that field and rededicate that territory to something that you want to have positive happening in your life right now.
Yeah, oh my goodness. I was so impressed with how you brought shame in because, I mean, how many people are experiencing shame in one level or another? And Carol, I'd love for you to kind of weigh in on that.
Well, it's funny because what I have learned about shame is that a lot of times it's lodged in your body and you're not even aware of it. When we were being interviewed last month by a man who works with people who have been in abusive relationships, and I realized, my goodness, I had been in one as a young woman. I'm in my 60s now, and this was in my 20s. And when I talked about it, I all of a sudden felt this spray of energy in my chest and my neck and my throat and up into my face like a blush. And I realized I had been holding that shame in my body for 40 years because I'd been so embarrassed, an intelligent woman like me being with someone who was physically abusive. And what I think is so amazing about what Gay brought out and what the book, tells people is that you may have shame so buried, so deeply buried in you that you're not aware of it, but yet it's affecting you. And what I love is the technique, a very simple technique that anybody can do. And you don't go into why it happened. You don't get caught up in the psychology of shame. It's a very body-centered approach to transforming the energy of shame. And so with that experience myself, realizing that I don't really relate to shame very much, but it's there. It was there the whole time. And of course, I did our technique, and it's been very powerful.
Oh my goodness, I can easily see why, because a book really kind of outlines, like you do the first step and you kind of go through these lucky secrets, these 8 lucky secrets to kind of get to the place where you can really be in this place of, conscious luck. Gay, I have to ask you, you talk about in your book about a tribe. Why is that so important?
I think that having a community around you of support is really a good thing in any area. But we want to really focus on building a community of support for people who are changing their views about luck, who are bringing forth new positive ideas about making their life luckier. Because in the exchange of ideas in the community comes the possibility of learning something brand new every day from people who are sharing their different points of view. So I've been privileged for many years. We first created the Hendricks Institute back in the 80s, and so we've graduated now a couple of thousand coaches, counselors, therapists over the years. So we have this large, thriving community that we exchange ideas with and get feedback from. And we want to create the same kind of thing in the conscious luck area. So I think that in order to really thrive as a human being, you have to go beyond thinking of yourself as an individual and thinking of what is your current series of relationships like. I say that you define yourself by the 5 relationships that you spend the most time with in your life. And so the act of being in community has a tremendous power to shape our lives and contribute to our well-being.
I love that you both have, communities online where people can be part of to kind of further that discussion. And Carol, you have I believe it's a Facebook page that's available for anybody, right?
Absolutely. So our website is consciousluck.com, and we really recommend, if you've already bought the book or haven't bought the book, we go there. And if you've bought the book and haven't entered your receipt number, you can get these beautiful meditations that Gay and I recorded that you can do morning and evening, 3 minutes out of your day to activate conscious luck in your life, to keep it on your radar, to do this, maybe let it resonate and marinate in your mind overnight to resonate with your subconscious. So we recommend and really, really invite people to go there. There's also a free self-assessment tool to see where exactly you might need a little more focus on conscious luck. Then we also have a Facebook page and a Facebook group. And you just have, if you're on Facebook, just search for Conscious Luck Global Community is our group, and we welcome anybody to come. It's a wonderful place to hear stories, to ask questions, to get Gay and I monitor that page and answer questions and hear about the stories and really enjoy it. And we also have a Conscious Luck page where every day or so we post more information and things that, as we're working on the book, we're right now working on a workbook companion journal for Conscious Luck, where we're taking all the experiences that people have had, and that will be, you'll be the first to hear about it if you're on our Conscious Luck Global Community, and it's so exciting taking this work deeper and helping people manifest it in their own lives, given their own situation, applying these secrets, and it's been a very fun process, just like Conscious Luck was times 2.
Well, I can't wait for that workbook to come out. I think there's a huge line of people waiting for it as well. It's just fabulous to have it where you can dive deeper into this and really get to the things that keep people stuck. And, it has me thinking, Gay, when you are connecting with people and the feedback that you've gotten, what are some of the things that actually keep people stuck from, reaching that conscious luck?
Well, in my earlier book, The Big Leap, I talk a lot about what I call the upper limit problem, which is the tendency to sabotage yourself when things start going better. A lot of us have a habit of kind of knocking ourselves back down. When we start to thrive, we find some way to mess it up. And in The Big Leap, I describe several fears that are underneath that. And I think they really apply in a major way also to what people get scared about with opening up and choosing a luckier life. One of those is the fear that they'll outshine someone else. If they get more expanded and get more lucky and better things start happening to them, it may cause strain in relationships that have been part of your life for a long time. And so a lot of people get afraid of bringing forth their true big light in life because their fear of outshining other people. So that's a fear that I want to speak to because it affects so many people in our community. And I want to say about that in actuality, if you allow yourself to thrive and shine and bring forth your big light, it has the effect of inspiring other people. It may threaten some people, but with encouragement, they can be encouraged to open up and do the same thing for themselves, because we're basically all the same. And even though some of us may have a different IQ or some of us may have a different net worth or something like that, the human mind hasn't fundamentally changed in the last 50,000 years or so as far as the hardware goes. It's just that we've used the software better and better and better. And our latest software upgrade that Carol and I want to install in humanity is this idea that if you open up and take charge of your own luckiness, it opens up a lot of positive possibilities in the world that were closed to you before. So it's an evolutionary and a revolutionary act all at the same time.
It seems that some people are still working on dot prompt with their operating system as far as luck goes. So we could use that reboot. It's time.
Definitely.
Well, I'd love to jump in here because for me, there was a meta shift that happened for when I really sort of got on board here. I thought it sounded really great, but we interviewed a woman, a professor at Stanford named Tina Selig, and she wrote about luck a few years ago. And she had this beautiful quote that really made me understand that we're already creating our own luck. But she said that many people think of luck as a random, isolated event, like a lightning strike, when in fact it's a wind that's always blowing. And it's up to you to build a sail made out of tiny behaviors, and we would add attitudes and associations to harness the winds of luck. So you're already creating your own luck. Your luck comes from what you do, who you hang out with, your attitudes of mind and behavior. So why don't you intentionally create good luck? Why don't you create good fortune? Because you're already doing it. So now take charge of it.
Oh my goodness, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And it has me kind of thinking about, I think I've got time for one more question here about our, in the book you talk about appreciation and gratitude and those not being the same. Why is that? And how does that help us with our conscious luck?
A lot of times people mistake gratitude and appreciation for the same thing, and other things that get bound into that too. Gratitude is a feeling you feel in your body, but appreciation is something you actively do. And so I want to open up both new possibilities in people, the idea that they can expand and appreciate people and themselves more as active acts, and also increase the feeling of gratitude in their bodies. I think that gratitude is one of the sweetest, most wonderful feelings there is. And I think also it's the ideal launching place for creating a new life. Because in a way, none of us can really reinvent our lives fully unless we can open up a space of gratitude for things as they are now. If we're feeling unhappy now, we have to open up and first open up a space to acknowledge our unhappiness and be grateful for whatever else we've created, because then that acts as a launch pad to what you want to create next. On the other hand, if you're not feeling grateful, if you're tucked in the area of your heart, then it's hard to open up and create something brand new in your life. So gratitude to me is one of the best things that human beings do. And it's a wonderful feeling, and it's also a very practical way of opening up a faster path to a better future for yourself.
Do you have anything you'd like to share on that too, Carol?
Yes, I also think on a practical level, gratitude is when you feel lucky, there's a very huge element of gratitude. And so at any moment you can feel lucky. And I would like to, posit that feeling lucky is more important than being lucky. You know people who you would consider lucky. They have great lives, they have wonderful careers and children, but they don't feel lucky. And the people you know who can find luck in every situation, those are truly lucky people. So I think that if you can master the art, and we have a practice called radical gratitude that we introduce in our book about very gently, feeling your feelings when things go wrong, but then looking very in the spirit of tremendously gentle self-inquiry, is there anything here I can feel lucky about? Is there anything here that I could be grateful for? And just considering that will change you from a reactive state to a proactive state in your life, which of course will lead to more luck.
Which is exactly where we want to be, especially now. Well, Gay, do you have any final thoughts you'd like to leave our listeners with?
Just remember that you're only one breath and one thought away from changing your life. So take a big, easy breath and figure out, what do I most love? What do I most love to do in the world? And how can I do it even more?
I love that. Carol, any thoughts from you?
I sort of already said them, but I thought I just wanted to see you were asking. Remember that the winds of luck are always blowing. And really and truly, it's up to you. You can be a lucky person by feeling lucky and remembering that it's up to you.
Well, I feel so lucky that we were able to have this time together and talk about conscious luck. Thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show with us here today.
Oh, thanks a lot.
It was
a great pleasure being with you.
Well, Gay and Carol, it has been such an honor to spend this time with you and, of course, to talk about your new book, Conscious Luck. Conscious Luck is available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and all indie retailers. And if you don't see it on the shelf, ask for them to order it. You can also pick up Conscious Luck in Kindle. If you'd like to learn more about Gay and Carol and Conscious Luck, you can at consciousluck.com for more information. Well, we're at the end of our time today. I would like to thank everyone for tuning in. You're listening to Moments with Marianne. And remember, make every moment count.
In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Marianne is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Her guests are leaders in their fields, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, and business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary, a recognized leader in her own work, and while teaching others to develop, refocus, and grow, Marianne will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. You never know just which moment will change your life forever. Moments with Marianne airs every Sunday, Monday, Thursday, and Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Make sure to tune in and visit momentswithmarianne.com for more information.